Thank you, Jack. And so finally, I would like to introduce Michael Smink, who will provide an overview of the trust. And I just want to say that I just contacted him for the first time mid-last week, I think it was, and his meticulous thought and care went into drafting this trust has been nothing short of remarkable in a week and a half. And so I would like to turn it over to Michael now.
Good afternoon. Like Victoria said, my name is Michael Smink. I'm a estate planning and administration attorney at the Boulder Law Firm. It's spelled S-M-E-E-N-K. I'm with the Boulder Law Firm of Frascona, Joyner, Goodman, and Greenstein. And as Victoria mentioned, I drafted the trust agreement. First, I want to say just how grateful I am for the opportunity to be here and to be able to work on this project. It's been a pleasure to work with Victoria and Jack over the last couple weeks, and now to meet Heidi and Sam. What Victoria's been able to do in collecting so much money for Farah is just amazing. And it's apparent that she's driven by love and compassion for others, and in this case, Farah and her family in particular. When Victoria first approached me, her goal was to create a vehicle for the money she collected so that it would be preserved for Farah. Without knowing how long Farah's going to need specialized medical care and services, Victoria wanted to create a long-term solution that would make resources available for as long as possible. So the type of trust that we decided on is called a special needs trust. What I'd like to do now is just briefly explain some of the key characteristics of the trust. A special needs trust is designed to protect assets for a single beneficiary. In this case, that beneficiary is Farah. It's also designed to supplement other benefits or assistance that the beneficiary may qualify for or have the opportunity to receive. At this point, we don't know the total scope of outstanding care expenses, costs yet to be incurred, or the extent of the continued care that Farah will need. This money is to be used exclusively to make Farah's life better and her health conditions easier to manage throughout her lifetime. Some examples of what the money in the trust can be used for include general health and medical expenses, including both traditional and alternative treatments, therapy, specialized furniture or durable medical equipment, dedicated caregivers and care management services, supplemental housing and dietary needs, educational opportunities, and travel and transportation. The two co-trustees in charge of making all distributions from the trust are Victoria and Jack. Victoria asked Jack to serve with her because of his extensive experience with founding and running various charities and foundations. These two trustees provide a level of independence and ensure that there are checks and balances in place as to how the funds are used. They also serve as gatekeepers to prevent anyone else from accessing the funds. It's important to note that both trustees have volunteered to serve without any type of compensation. In the interest of full transparency, the trustees have agreed to make the trust agreement publicly available. A link to view the trust will be available at the GoFundMe website following the completion of this event. Finally, I'm happy to report that the trust was initially funded with a total of $154,178.22. This figure represents total net donations through about the first week in August. Since that time, more funds have been donated, and our hope is that even more contributions will be made in the days and weeks ahead. All of these contributions will be added to the trust account. Again, on behalf of everyone here, Farah's family, the trustees, we'd like to thank everyone for being here today, everyone who's been involved with Farah's care, and to all of the donors who have so generously given to help support Farah. At this point, we'd like to open the floor to any questions that you may have regarding the topics we've covered here today.
You say that only Farah will receive money from this fund, or will there be other family members?
Farah is the only beneficiary of the trust fund.
So only she can receive it.
Only she. It has to be used for her benefit, yes.
Can you talk a little bit about, you described some pretty extensive possible needs, therapy, special furniture. Can you talk a little bit about, without, getting into too many personal details, just some of what her long-term needs are going to be health-wise?
That will be determined, whoops, I'm sorry. That'll be determined in the future. We don't know yet, what else she will require for that.
She's gonna
So
have
I
a
don't
long,
know.
she's gonna have a long way of recovering and rehab. She still can't walk.
She's still in the hospital.
I mean,
Oh, really?
Yes.
she's upstairs right now, and it's gonna take a long time for her to be able to walk. She lost a big chunk of her leg, and in order for her to walk, she's gonna have a lot of rehab. I don't know if she's gonna be ever, I don't know if she's gonna be ever 100%, but she'll be the closest possible to 100%, hopefully with the rehab that we planned for her. So right now, we just playing by ear. We don't know exactly what's gonna happen, honestly. We just don't know.
Is there a guess when she might leave the hospital?
Hopefully within the next few days, but that's also depends on her doctors. We had her out last Thursday, and she had a little setback, and we had to bring her back last Monday again to the ER, and she has a little problem, and they're working on it. You see, you have to understand that her body was traumatized. The injury was severe. Even though she recovered quickly, for a young person, and I mean, she showed a lot of signs that she was recovering, but deep inside of her body, she still have a lot of problem. I don't want to go in details, but she shattered 3 ribs, spleen, lost a kidney, a hole in the stomach, diaphragm, lost a chunk of her leg. But if you look at the whole side, it was just basically blown to pieces there. When she came to the hospital, the officer would have to keep her intestines inside of her from falling out. When she fell the first time, she had to put her own intestines back in. Plus her heart, she was awake the entire time. And so it's going to take a long time. It really is. I mean, right now on the outside, she's healing, but still, there's a lot of emotional scars she's going to be facing eventually. The drugs they're giving her right now are just keeping her in a stable emotion, the word I'm looking for, stable emotion, I will say. But eventually, those memories are going to start coming out, and she's going to need help for that. I mean, to go through that trauma, it's hard for anybody to really imagine. So we're just hoping for the best.
How old is she?
She's 22.
22.
She has a birthday coming up soon next month. She'll be 23.
And did she go to school? Was she going to school? Or?
She was working at Red Robin's at the time, and unfortunately, there were 6 other her co-workers got hurt too. One of them passed away, and all those kids are the same way. They have no insurance, and they're going to be suffering. It's going to take a long time for them to heal. I don't know if she's going to be able to go to work anytime soon. She has a long way ahead of her, and in the meantime, hopefully she can go to school while she's recovering.
There was some talk that the hospital would be covering some of the medical expenses. I assume that that's not,
So far, what we heard is they covered 100%, but down the road, that's what we worried about. After she leaves the hospital, her medical expenses are going to be very high. Like I said earlier, she needs in-home care. She can't be on her own yet. She's going to take some time.
We know that's a lot for her to go through. It's a lot for you guys to go through as well. It's been 4 weeks. How you doing?
We going one day at a time. I'll be honest with you, the first 2 weeks I was numb. I really was. I remember some of the stuff, but a lot of stuff I really don't remember. I mean, it's hard to explain.
Yeah, very surreal.
I have 2 kids, a boy and a girl, and seeing one of them almost losing it, you will never understand the feeling until you become a victim yourself. I mean, we heard a lot about other people being injured and so forth, but when it hit you yourself, it's hard to explain. It really is. It's hard to explain.
It feels like it's been a lifetime.
I mean, it's been a month so far. It's been a month, and we pray minute by minute. Hopefully, she'll be back to be normal again.
Victoria, what prompted you to get this involved and this motivated? And to do all this?
$160,000.
I mean, this is a tremendous, amount of energy and work that you put into this.
Very
And,
dedicated, yes.
what was it inside you that caused you to want to put forth that effort?
Well, I mean, it was a simple suggestion that came up about a website that I knew about, and hey, do you want to try and raise some money because, this is really serious and it's going to have long-term impact financially. And so I did, and it was, we raised the $37,000 in the first couple of days ourselves, and then it was when the tribe jumped in and there was a little bit of publicity to Farrah's case, or her story in particular, that drove people to the website. And then, kind of when the tribe came on board, the momentum just came, like I said, within 6 hours, we raised an additional $100,000 plus. So, I was dedicated in managing and starting this site, but it was like, the snowball at the top of the hill. I didn't realize that I was, I had to take the effort to stay involved and be dedicated and be focused, because there was a lot of money at stake. There was a lot of homework to be done. There was a lot of coordination to be done to put this trust together to protect these funds, because all along my intent was to protect the funds for Farrah and so that she had the care that she needed. And it took time and a coordinated effort. I mean, I have a full-time career. I'm a grandparent, and I have a life, but it was just putting on another hat and just a lot of long hours and dedication. I was here at the hospital, I think every day except a 5-day business trip and maybe 2 or 3 other days. I've been here every single day in support of Farrah and Heidi and Sam and their family, and just in the background trying to juggle my life, my own life, with this website that had raised all this money all of a sudden that we had to protect. And so that's how I'm so dedicated. It just, I just had to do it.
I would add that Victoria is a rescuer of the First Order. Has always been, and I think she always will be. She's just a phenomenal, big-hearted, open-minded, wonderful person. That's the motive.
And I'd like to add one more thing regarding Victoria. Heidi and I, at the time, to be honest with you, didn't have the mental capacity, or we couldn't even concentrate on anything except for one thing, just Farrah's being healthy again. And she took it up on herself, and she generated the money for Farrah. And for that, I'm in debt for the rest of my life.
Victoria, how long have you known the family?
I've known Farrah, 4 years. I met Heidi 4.5 years ago. We've been friends ever since, close friends. So, and I had actually just, together with Farrah and Heidi and Heidi's 3 granddaughters, Farrah's 3 nieces, and my grandson, we had just gone to the Butterfly Pavilion maybe like a month, well, I'll say a month ago. At that point, probably 2 months ago now. So we had just, had a day out together, so I had just seen her. And when your friend's going through something as traumatic and shocking as this, this national tragedy here in Colorado, you just kind of go through the motions. You just jump in and you do what you have to do, and it just kind of came naturally to help.
And Heidi, are you amazed by the public outpouring?
I am so deeply touched. For so many prayers around, that have been sent for her, the letters, the notes, messages online, emails. So many people have shown that they care. And I need to thank also so many friends, Stan and Lisa Romanek, Anna and CJ Losey, others. They really were my strength when I had none, and they were amazing. And I would also like to ask that we don't forget those that were at the theater, because whether these people were physically injured or not, they have a long road ahead of them of recovery. This has affected them deeply. And